when Rush was supposed to go a little more pop, and instead they went a little more into space. Their former producer, Terry Brown, their producer for the heyday of Rush on Rock History Music. After Caress of Steel, the record label wanted Rush to become more commercial, and instead Rush just battened down the hatches and said, we're going to do it our way. And they released 2112, which opened up so many doors for them artistically and commercially as well. On some levels on print, you would have thought that maybe that album would be successful, but it certainly was. And to set the stage for the rest of the Rush era, their producer Terry Brown talks about how much he loved 2112.
It's interesting with Caress of Steel, which wasn't as successful. And then the record company's telling them, well, we got to you got to make it a little bit more commercial. And of all things, they go into 2112. What kind of conversations were you guys having? Because the record label did not want 2112, even though 2112 opened up a whole new world for them.
Exactly. Well, it was in my position as producer, co-producer, I wanted to make the best record we could. They came in, they played this material for me, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Let's do it. And we just got stuck into it and recorded it and made it the best we could. So it wasn't, I wasn't even thinking about singles. That didn't appeal to me at all. I wanted to make a great record. And I felt we were, and apparently we did.
Why'd the band call you? Is it Brune? Is that how you pronounce it?
Brune, yes. I remember Neil saying Big Bill Brunsey, who was obviously a very famous blues guitarist, and that's how it started. And then it ended up being Brune, and it stuck.
And it became a song.
It did. Brune's Bane, yeah.
By the way, All the World's a Stage, I played that live album, maybe Hot August Night by Neil Diamond a little bit more, but that's one of my all-time favorite live albums. Putting down a live album, how different is that as opposed to, are you there at the recording? How does that work? Or are you also there in the studio when you're mixing it? Or
yeah, I was there both in that particular case. And I think the live recording on Moving Pictures supersedes that. I don't know if you've heard that. It's an hour and a half show at Maple Leaf Gardens, complete from beginning to end. And I mixed that, 2 years ago? Mm-hmm. And I'm really pleased with that. It's one of my best live recordings. I recorded that too.
To me, after I get off the phone with Jim, I feel like I want to have a nap for all the right reasons. The second conversation we had, I'm going, I'm a spiritual cat. He's way more spiritual than me. I was that spiritual in the 80s, but this whole journey that he's going through is amazing.
It is. Yeah. The stuff he talks about in the book, it's pretty wild.
So what do you think of it?
I love it. I'm sort of leaning in that direction myself. I just lost my mom, who was 100, and this is going back a few months now. And I got a letter from a psychic friend of mine, and she said, I was in touch with your mother this morning, and she's doing just great. She's with your dad. And Linda was there too. That's my late wife. And Linda was there. And it was like, wow, really? It's like, I love that sort of stuff. I'm totally open to it. So, which is good, I think,
Well, I you know what? I'm 63. I know you got a few years on me, but there's something in me. Going through divorce, reading all the spiritual books in the 80s and then leaving it and coming back and being religious in the 70s and leaving that behind. But I'm watching the clock. Let's delve into this a little bit. I'm watching the clock, even at 63. My father-in-law is 80. He's not doing well. And I'm being more discerning. I'm paying more attention. I'm trying to be more mindful, all these things. But for you, how far back do you go with Jim?
Not that long, as a matter of fact. Probably, well, I forget the name of his album now. The one he did. Oh, jeez.
What's the time?
It was.
Time?
I can't remember the title of it. It was
That's
about
okay.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
It came out.
Okay.
So I met him a couple of years before that. So it's probably around 7 or 8 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like no other interview.
He's an interesting fellow, isn't he?
Well, first of all, we were going to talk about music again, and I'd already talked to him about those three famous guitarists he's worked with, and the songs, and that was interesting. And sometimes when I interview someone again, I'll ask them the same question, and I'll get a slightly different answer, but it's the same thing. It's just more meat, right?
Yeah.
But this time we talked about spirituality, I think, for half an hour, about him and his wife, contacting his wife. I used to be the radio guy that would work with psychics. I don't know why they picked me, but they always did. And I'd be in the audience with the microphone, and they'd be on stage, and I'd be go, "Oh, you have a question." And a few psychics still owe me money, but I guess they're not supposed to. I'm serious. Like 3,000. There's a psychic in Calgary that owes me $3,000. I'll never ask for it. It's fine. But I've come upon all my whole life, it's just been one thing after another. And then you leave it, and you come back to it, and you go, you can't escape it. I mean, where are you now? Like I asked Richie Furay when Rusty Young died. I said, okay, Richie, you're a minister. Interviewed him many times, so I felt comfortable with him. I said, you're a minister. I think I know what answer you're going to give me. Where's Rusty? He died a week before. Thought he was going to cancel the interview. Said, no, let's do it. And he gave me the religious version. I'm not religious at all. But it still has common denominators, which is there's another dimension, which everyone agrees on. And there's ways of communicate with them. And no matter what happens, I'll be okay if I die. So where do we go when we die?
Oh, who knows? That's a tough one. My spouse is very spiritual, and she.
How does it come out in her? How does it come out in her?
Well, she believes that she's on this earth to learn for the next time she comes back, and she's been here before, so that's very interesting. But just before I forget, I always remember when we met Lizzie for the first time, Elizabeth. She was chatting with Anne, and Anne, who's quite spiritual, she said to me, I don't know about Lizzie. She said she was talking about stuff that I just couldn't get a grasp on. She's like knows so much more than I do. She was wonderful, just beautiful, lovely soul, very gentle and very, very quiet and very bright. And she was, she had things going on that Anne could not fathom. It was fascinating.
It's interesting when Jim talked about it in the first interview, slightly talked about it. YouTube's an interesting creature, right? Because, I get all kinds of stupid comments that make no sense. And then I get mostly good comments because I like to do my homework. But at the same time, when he talks about his spirituality, which I thought, I wonder how this is going to go down. I asked him, he says, no, of course, that's me. I'm not hiding that. And he got amazingly, because he's firmly footed in his belief. And that says something to people when they listen to it, right?
Absolutely.
You're going, well, this guy means it. These are not words. These are not like something to hang on to. So has that changed your daily practice at all? Do you meditate? Do you pay attention to your dreams? How does it come through with you?
I don't have that on a day-to-day basis. I do dream a lot. I don't meditate. But I just seem to, I feel like I'm in contact all the time. There's always something going on out there that I would like, I don't want to miss in terms of the other side.
So you're being mindful, you're paying attention.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me that he is the way he is. I mean, here's a guy who played in a band that had Eric Clapton, Jimmy Page and
Jeff Beck.
Jeff Beck as guitar players in the band. I mean, that's got to mean something to your psyche. It's got to open up doors. It has to.
Well, you're in the same
For
position
me, anyway.
Well, you're in the same
Yeah.
position, though.
No, I guess so. Yeah.
No, I was thinking about, you as a man this morning. I'm thinking about like this guy's in this room, and I say the same damn thing in a lot of interviews because I interview people of that level, right? A level I can't understand. Well, you got to do the work to get in the room. I mean, it's a cliche, but you have to you're not getting in that room unless you do the work. And you were surrounded. You deserve to be there. I hope you never had imposter syndrome because you did the work.
Imposter syndrome. That never occurred to me, but
Really? So you never did have that? Like little old me, what am I doing here? Why am I in this room with these guys?
No. I knew why I was there. I was contributing and adding something to the mix. It was chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
There's no denying that. When you get people in a room, it's quite amazing what goes on.
Do you look back at your life? There must be some sense of little old me when you look back and you go, because it's like rediscovering your fridge, they say. Sometimes you go, hey, that's a really nice fridge. Or you go, oh my God, it's been a great life, or whatever that semblance of that might be.
Oh, yeah, it has been a great life. I always used to say that I'd never worked a day in my life. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
So
we'll have more from producer Terry Brown in the next few days. In this series, you'll find out about new things he's working on as well. If you want to support the channel, there are links in the description. You can make a PayPal donation, or you can join our Patreon, get early access to all our videos. Like our videos, comment on them. We read all the comments. Subscribe to our channel and share our videos on social media. We'd appreciate that. I'm John Bowden. This is Rock History Music. Take care of yourself.